What's up tonight, y'all? So tonight I am gonna make some more of these square in a square blocks that I am making a table runner out of. So I've got two different ones. I'm making this one as well as this one here. So I'm using a fabric line called Vineyard, and that is by Jeff Allen, and that's by Studio E. So I've got a sister-in-law that does her kitchen in this wine motif. So I wanted to do a table runner for her center island in the kitchen. So I'm going to show you how to do a simple square in a square. It's really not that hard, and they look pretty nice. Okay, so of course we're going to start out. Put our fabrics right side together. Now I am using these centers that I am starting out with are 6-inch squares. I just used my ruler, made 6-inch squares, and then I'm going to sew all the way around them, and then I'll show you how easy this is. So I need to make 4 of these because the pattern I'm doing, I want to have a total of 8 blocks. Okay. So I've got these sorted. Now I'll switch you around. And you can see I've got my sewing machine, and we are just going to whip these out. Now you're going to need a pair of scissors, and you're going to need something to mark with for the way that I'm about to show you how to do this. So it doesn't really matter which side that you sew, as long as you get a nice consistent seam. I'm using a walking foot just because it has a nice 1/4 inch on it. Now I'm smoothing. It doesn't matter. These don't have to be super accurate. This is actually a pretty forgiving technique. So there's a bunch of ways to make these. This is the way. This is the way that I choose to do it because I find that it's just simple. The way I quilt, no need to make it complicated if you don't have to. So I'm going to get a couple of these done real quick, and then we'll split them open. And went a little too far on that one. There we go. So you want to sew like right up to the edge and then around the corner. You can sew off the edge if that's how you prefer to do it. Now the only thing I'm checking for is I want these to be as lined up as possible. Okay. So what's nice about these blocks is when you put them together, you have, of course, your primary pattern, but then the corners come together and make a nice secondary pattern. And you can do like I'm doing here. I've made 4 of exactly the same thing starting out. Now, how I cut them here in just a second is going to make the difference in how the beginning of the block turns out. Alright, we got around one more corner and then we'll be done with this initial step. Okay, so let me get you turned around. Hey, Kathy. Hey, Terry. Hey, Bobby. Okay. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to press these. So I've got my wool mat. Now, do this at your own risk. If you feel comfortable, do it. If not, don't do it. But I wouldn't do this on top of my Fiskars mat because the steam may come through. But with this Martelli mat, I could actually put a piece of fabric, just one single piece of fabric over this, and then iron on top of this mat. So I'm not worried about having my wool mat on top of here. But see how everything's kind of crinkled and puckered? So we want to get that ironed. We want to relax these seams. So that way this next step here will be as accurate as we can make it. Must have not used my iron enough and it started cooling off on me. Okay. So, good enough for government work. Those don't have to be perfect because these are going to be ironed a bunch more times. Okay, so here's where the difference comes in. So I've got 2 and 2. Okay, so the variation, obviously, here is the grape is in the center on this one, and it's on the outside of this one, okay? So, when you're starting these, whatever you want, whichever block is going to be your corner, is the ones that you want to draw on. Let's move this up here. Okay, so whichever blocks you want out here, whichever fabric, that's the one that you're going to draw on. Okay, so keep that in mind. So your big bold fabric, whichever one you want to be your big main print, is going to be on the bottom. Okay, so take 2 and 2. Now, what you want to do is, if your stitching's not centered, you want to go from the center of your stitching, not the center of the or not the center of the corner of the fabric. You want to go to the center of your stitching. See, like right here? Try to get that to focus. There we go. See, my stitching's not quite centered, okay? But we're going to go to the center of the stitching. That's important. And I'm just taking a simple, you can use whatever, ink pen, marker, pencil. As long as it does not bleed through, mark it however you want to mark it because it's not going to show. Okay, so I'll do one of them. And then I'll come back and we'll do one of these. Same thing, corner to corner of your stitching here. Okay, so now, this is the part we got to be careful with. Now, I've got regular size scissors here. A smaller pair would probably work better, but I'm confident using these. So we're going to use them. But you may want to use a smaller little snippy pair. Now, here's what I do. You see, we got our mark here. So I pinch this and I make sure my bottom fabric's out of the way. See, I've pulled it out of the way. And now when I pinch this, I'm pinching it on my line. If you can see, my line's right there. And I try and line up this line here, there, and there. I'm going to give it just a little finger pinch. And then we're just going to make the smallest snip right on that line. Okay? You see that? Just a tiny snip. And now we're going to put the tip of our scissor in there. And we're very carefully going to cut on this line here. Okay? Now, when you get up here to the corner, you want to get in there as good as you can, because that will make a difference when you're folding these over and you're trying to get your flaps to iron out. So get into the corner as best you can. Now these are one of those blocks that are not hard, but you don't necessarily want to race through them because you got to kind of be a little accurate. Not crazy accurate. They're pretty forgiving. Okay. Now, I'm going to do this one, and I'm just going to kind of whip through it real quick since I explained the other one. I'll just get this one done real quick because they're not that difficult. Get my scissor in there. Now, this is one of those blocks where if you don't normally starch, this would probably be a good block to start your fabric on. Just so it's a little stiffer, it's a little easier to work with. I'm one of those, I don't starch religiously. I starch sometimes. Depends on how slinky the fabric is, or if I'm going to be doing something that uses a lot of bias edge, something that's going to stretch and be hard to work with, and I'll starch it. Boom. Okay, so we got these cut. Now, we're going to start by giving them a finger press. And we don't want to stretch them because now we've made bias edge right here, okay? So we want to push them all the way open as we can get. Boom. I'm going to do this one too. Might as well hit this with the iron at the same time. So I don't normally come on this late, especially during the week, because normally I'm on my way to Chicago this time of night, but I almost got out the door and my dispatcher called and said, hey, we really don't have enough freight to send a trailer up to Chicago, so you get the night off. And I thought, that works for me. I'll go work on a table runner. So I got the kids in bed, got dinner ate, and we're up here working on this. All right, so we got that nice and pressed. Get this one nice and pressed, and then we'll have one more step, nice and easy. I just want to press these out real good and flat. Now, you could take the time and square these up real quick, but really, they're pretty square. I mean, they're not 100%, but they're square enough. Okay, they're square enough for the type of quilting I do. See, we gotta watch. Boom. Okay, now, same thing. So now we got this fabric, and we've got the same print in this, it's like a purple. It's got some, kind of got a little bit of maybe some fuchsia tones to it, but it's a really nice purpley grape color. So, now I've got a match. I know this one here is going to be my purple block. And this one here is going to be my green, so. Show you the real scientific way that I did this, and I got to be careful that I have enough fabric. So I'm going to fold it so that way when I'm cutting this one time, that I'll go ahead and get two pieces out of what I need. So it's pretty simple. I'm going to take this, lay it down, and I'm just going to cut. I use my, just gonna use my scissors at first, just to get it, you know, enough, and then we'll trim it down. All right. Now, is that the most accurate way to do it? Nope. Is that the most best way to do it to save fabric? Nope. But is that how I'm doing it? Yep. That's the nice thing about quilting. There's never one specific way. Now, the thing I like about these is holding them. They feel really good. So you hold these like this. Okay? Now, the cover's on them. See that black line there? That's the blade protector. What's kind of cool with these is you can either flick it with your finger, which will bring it up, or you just roll it forward on your mat. Boom, hear that click? Now it's open. Okay, so I'm trimming this up. Now what I want to look for is right here. Okay, where my threads come together. I don't want to get on the inside of where them threads come together. Okay, see this here? I don't want to be cutting in here. I want to cut right up to the edge, because if I cut in there, that's going to make a hole. All right, so right here, as close as you can. Now we'll zoom you back out. There you go. Okay, so I've got it lined up. I'm going to go ahead and trim. Just like that, scoot it over just a hair. You can kind of cheat these a little bit. It's a very forgiving technique. For you guys that have watched me for a while, you'll know I am not a a super, super technical fussy quilter. Most of the stuff I make is not going to end up going on tour and being stared at and judged, because I tend to make quilts or projects that serve a purpose and are going to be used. So, and then to close this, you just take this, flip it over, and bam, it's closed. But the nice thing is you can set these down, and then if I bump it, then I'm hitting the acrylic, not the cutter. But you like to cut, or you like to close them anyway, so you can save your blade. Okay, now, so that we don't do like I did the last time, I sewed one of these completely, set it aside, didn't pay no attention to it, picked up my other fabric, went to sew another block, and realized I completely sewed them the wrong way. Okay. Alright. So, we're doing right sides to right sides. Alright. Get you turned around. Boom. Alright, so this is going to be the same thing. Now, this time you're going to be, you've got some seams to contend with while you're sewing. So just kind of be mindful, you know, try to keep your seams flat when you're doing this. It just makes it easier to deal with. I'm using my walking foot, like I said. Oops. For some reason, my thread cutter hit. Okay, so same thing. Turn you around. Boom. Alright, so same thing. So we're going to draw corner to corner. And we'll split it open. Now the other way to do this would be, you could actually measure out from here to here and cut triangles and sew and do all that. That's fine too. Might be a little more accurate. But doing it this way, you get all your stuff at one time. The camera angle went kind of wacky on me. There we go. Same thing, pull your fabric apart, because you don't want to cut the back of it. So pull it apart, you know, like you're pulling a pocket open. And then same thing, I pinch on this line here, and I line up the one line with the other. That way when I cut, I'm cutting straight. And you're just taking a little snip, you're not getting crazy. Just enough to get the tip of your scissor in there. Like I said, for marking, you can use whatever. Just make sure it doesn't bleed through the fabric. You're not going to see it anyway. Okay, now one last snip. So there's a trade-off. Now the smaller scissors are going to be easier to make sure that you don't cut too much and accidentally snip something you don't want to. But I like the bigger scissors because if you're having a smaller one, then you're having to do a lot of this and maybe your cuts kind of look a little choppy. But with a bigger one, I mean, you can almost make one fluid little cut. All right, so just like anything else, cord keeps getting pinched between my tables. I'm gonna hit it like this first, relax these seams a little bit. Anytime you're pressing, it's always good. Hit the thread first, it'll relax your seams, relax the thread, and then you can get it nice and open. Now you'll notice I'm not doing a whole lot here. I just want it to be open enough that I can hit it with the iron. And we'll let the iron get it flat. I'm finally getting over whatever I had. Some kind of cold. Man, it was down in my chest for a while. Was not fun. So I want to show you something because here's a little something to look out for. Okay, so we'll zoom in on this. Okay, so can you see how this is the corner. This is where I stopped. Okay, so if I don't snip that to the corner, then it's going to make that lay funny. So get your scissor in there and finish that cut. Now you see how that opens that up a lot nicer? Okay. Most of the other ones are pretty good. All right, so you may have to go in and just finish that. See, like right here, I got up in there real nice. Oh, there we go. I got up in here real nice so that it laid good and flat. So that's something to look out for. All right, when you go in, you may have to no, it's not a left-handed sewing machine. So whenever you're using your selfie camera on your phone, it kind of makes things a little wonky. And normally I try not to use the selfie camera. Normally I'll have another phone on the group and I'll be watching this as just like you guys are. So that way things aren't backwards. But tonight I'm using one phone just because I'm doing a quick little tutorial. And yeah, it makes it backwards. So like if I had lettering, it would be backwards too. Okay, so that is it. Nice and simple. Okay. So now we got a couple of these. And then this is the other one. So I've got to make more. I need a total of 4 green and 4 of these purple. And then I will show you. Here's what we're going for. Clear my mat off real quick. So we're doing like this. Bear with me. I know you can't see. Hold on. Be patient. Okay. Boom. Alright. So that's what we're going for. Now we're going to double that because that's only 4. We're going to double this again. So you see this extra little design that's in the center? That's really nice. I like that. So we'll get another one here for this row, and then we'll have a third one. So you'll have these blocks here, and then you'll have a half, and then 3 diamonds, and then another half. So now, my other decision, okay? And we'll make this a group decision for you people watching. Chime in and let me know what you think real quick. Okay, so the other fabric. We have, because I'd like to put a border on this. I need to fatten it up a little bit and give it some length. Okay, so we've got this fabric as well. And then, let me see here. I got everything bunched up on the end of my cutting table. So we've got the yellow, but that really, I don't know. There's really not enough, I don't think, in there to pull that off. Then we got the green. Or I've got enough to do a small border, but I don't know if that would be too different because these are olives. Or I've got this here. This is actually a border fabric that I would cut up. And maybe use like just this section here. Or maybe use this on the ends. So I don't know. Okay. A solid color of some kind. Okay. All right. I know my sister-in-law likes the colors. So we'll have to figure something else out. Now, this was the other one I started working on, and when I started quilting it, it decided to get all wonky on me. So I got to pick that apart. So, this is the other one I made too. Real simple. Because, yeah, like you guys are saying, this is a really, really busy fabric. So I didn't want it to be real complicated piecing. I just kind of wanted to let the fabric do the talking. And, yeah, so we'll do that. And then I think I do like maybe doing it like this. I have these here like this. Okay, so a border of maybe this. But, yeah, it's a little busy. And then somebody said the gold. I kind of like that. That might brighten it up quite a bit. Because it's the same print as these here. It's just in gold. Or I've got some. Let's see here. What looked, well, okay. So what looked good? I got a couple yeses, and that looked good. Which one are you talking about? gold. Okay. Because it wouldn't be a very huge border. That's definitely the wrong purple. Alright. Okay. So, gold it is. Maybe thin. Maybe like a... cut it at like 1.5 or 2. So we'll just have a tiny border. That would look good. I'd bring it out. Alright. There we go. Alright. So, I guess that's it. Because I'm going to keep doing these, and of course, you know, it's repetitive. I just showed you how I'm making them. Pretty simple. Start with one block. Then it turns into another block, and then it turns into another block. And you know, you could keep going and going with those. And I thought about making a giant one just for the center of her island, because she like always keeps a bowl of whatever in there. So I thought about making a giant one just for that she could, you know, just have in the center, because she's got a little baby. We don't want to make it so long that the baby's reaching up on the island and yanking. But anyway, I guess that's it for tonight. Just something simple. I was able to get out into the studio for a little while. Man, this thing don't want to stay straight, does it? So, I guess that's it, but I want to get some quilting done. Also, if anybody likes this quilt, I am working on the pattern for this. This will be available. We're going to sell it, you know. It's not going to be expensive like a lot of the other patterns are. We want to do stuff reasonably. But I'm going to start selling some patterns here, me and Jean, to start generating some money. And that way we can keep producing content, and I can keep buying supplies and all that jazz. So thank you guys so much. Stay tuned. This year we got a lot planned. We got some... companies that are working with us that are going to be giving the group some discounts, which is awesome. And so yeah, we got some things going. So I'm glad y'all joined me, and stick around. I'm going to work some more on this, and then I'll post my project or my progress here in a little while. Yes, Lisa, you can do it. That's why I like to do some of these not so... I want you to look at something and go, hey, I think I can do that. Not like, holy crap, that must have taken forever. I'm not going to try that. I want to inspire people to quilt, not, you know, look at something and think it's a gigantic puzzle. So, I'm out of here. Thanks for hanging, and have a happy, what are we, Wednesday? Happy Wednesday night. I'm not used to saying that. So, I'm out of here. I'm going to spend some time with my Juki and slap some fabric together, and we'll see how it turns out. So, have a good night, everyone. Bye.